Welcome to Porcelain Peak, a strange and scary podcast dissecting all things horror and sci-fi. Here are your hosts, or what's left of them, Tone, John, and Anthony. Enjoy the trivia while you can.
So then I said, get this. No, but that's a nice ski mask.
I said, do you love me? Hey, welcome back to Season 4 of Porcelain Peak. As always, produced by wordsforweirdos.com. This week, we got Chop Talk with some very exciting May the 4th be with you news and a little bit more.
Star
A
Wars
big
isn't
announcement.
spooky. I don't know why I'm doing this.
Big announcement from us.
Yeah.
That we're going to make you hold us to.
We're pregnant.
And then for trivia, we're jumping into regular Pass the Popcorn. Should be okay.
Oh, damn. So now we finally are going to be kicking ourselves for only watching horror and sci-fi movies.
Pretty much, yeah. Then for our main discussion, we are starting our month-long look into the life and films of Sam Raimi with a little bit of background on him and diving into The Evil Dead. And for our final cut, we are wrapping up Night. So stay tuned.
Why don't you take an axe and chop it open?
Well, John, Anthony, how are you guys, huh?
That was intentional this time.
I said Anthony and looked at Anthony.
Yeah,
Well-
you said both. You called him
Said
John, eh?
John and Anthony.
Okay, well, I'll speak for both
Whatever,
of us.
yeah. Go ahead, please.
John,
Speak for all three of us.
John is feeling pretty good. Work, has been pretty busy, but he's happy that he's had a little bit of time to play Elden Ring, and
Do me.
You are happy that you're getting Mexican food in about an hour.
And you're all going there in about 15 minutes. Okay. And
Holy shit, we really are gonna die.
In reality, though, the weather.
To me, it's Cinco de Cuatro today, day of recording,
Yeah,
which is a joke from Arrested Development, if you don't know, where they're trying to take over Cinco de Mayo.
yeah, that's
So-
racist.
It is, but it works for me because I am Mexican, so I can celebrate both days.
Okay, you were saying because I am racist.
It works for me because I'm racist.
To answer your question about how I'm doing, at least I can speak for myself. The weather is getting very warm. I don't like it, but I was wondering if you guys wanted to go camping because I found this nice little cabin out in the middle of the woods. I hear there's some great reading material that you'd be into.
I would be into that. Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah.
I'm hearing
Wait a
that.
second.
I'm hearing that you mustn't read from it. That's what I'm being told.
Well, that's the Book of the Dead, which is an alternate title to The Evil Dead.
Maybe people should stop writing books about dead things and start.
That's a good point.
Yeah, magical books. John, how are you doing?
So I'm actually a little nervous. I have completed all of my interviews for this process to get this promotion at work, and now it's the waiting game, and it's really fucking with my sleep schedule because I'm just like eyes wide open, like.
You have to poop constantly, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So hopefully I find out about that relatively soon because that would be fantastic for me and for my family. But other than that, I have been playing some Elden Ring, and Elden Ring is still just as fun as it was before.
I know you like I know myself.
Why'd you point at me?
That's the bit. Now you're John.
Oh, sick. I've been playing Elden Ring. All right, well, first I think we wanted to do a couple shout-outs.
Yeah.
First one I want to shout out is a little friend of the podcast, Hunter.
Nice.
Sarah's boy. It was his birthday. He just turned 10.
Damn.
So shout out to you, Hunter. Happy birthday, buddy.
Which is he the older one or the younger
Yeah,
one?
he's the older one.
The older one.
Yeah.
Which one did you watch? So you watched Poltergeist for the younger one's birth, right?
Yeah, well, yeah. Yeah, so there was a couch in the birthing room, and so she was next to me doing her thing, and I was eating Taco Bell watching Poltergeist.
You're like,
I passed out.
That was like your abstract interpretation of what was going on in the room with her. It's like, I'm eating Taco Bell and watching Poltergeist.
Yeah.
Damn, just in
Yeah,
your
and I
own
was
little
like,
world.
I'm going to give birth later after I eat this shit.
And then the doctor just came out of the room and was like, they're here.
Yeah, just palmed him. yeah, but that was for Maddox. I think I was just in the hospital when Hunter was born, but I don't remember.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Did you have any other shout-outs that you wanted to give?
We had one from a follow from our stream.
Yeah, so there was a person who jumped into our Resident Evil 4 stream last night by the name of Resident Evil Jesse on Twitch. So he
Shared
asked
a little
us,
bit of his story with us.
yeah, he asked very politely if he could share his story, and essentially he was declared dead and then was resuscitated. He has cerebral palsy. And he, in order to connect with people, he streams. He's been streaming since it was before Justin TV, which was the early creation of Twitch, on Ustream. And he is a Resident Evil speedrunner. And so he has his whole setup is anything that is typed in chat is then read out loud to him, and then he responds by typing in chat, and then it reads it out loud to the people who are watching the stream, which is a really cool way of going about it. And he is far better than we are at Resident Evil games. I got to watch some of his stream last night, and it's impressive. He's very good.
That's awesome. Yeah, so shout out to you, Resident Evil Jesse, and if you're on Twitch, then check him out.
Yeah, I since we're doing shout-outs, I'll give a couple. One is to Chuck, our friend Chuck from Chuck and Rough Go to the Movies. They ran into some technical difficulties like we did with finishing out their season 3, I believe. So they are encouraging people to go back and enjoy the whole previous season that they did, and look forward to Christmas in July with them, which is something that I know Chuck does every year. He's hoping to get all 3 of us on for an episode, so all 5 of us together, which would be tight. I also want to give a shout out to Mark and Brooke from a podcast on Elm Street. Mark specifically for calling me swole during the Little Nicky commentary, because that has basically just boosted my ego for the entire last week. And Brooke for, I don't know, just being a cool guy. I just wanted to shout out some of our podcast friends for being nice.
I think that since you mentioned technical difficulties, now would be a good time to say that if you're listening and you're a patron, we did have an issue with our Little Nicky commentary. So if you watched live, you were good, but it won't be on Patreon because of an issue that happened. But this month, we're going to give you 2. We're going to do Army of Darkness, and we're going to do Spider-Man 3. So look out for those.
Yeah, I'm very excited because those will hopefully be actual commentary tracks as opposed to Little Nicky, where we were either trying not to quote the movie or trying to fill the dead silence that was happening throughout the track because I was trying to pay attention.
Yeah.
And I've seen Spider-Man 3 enough times. I'll go ham on that movie.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Commentary.
So a couple trailers. One that is loose, but I wanted to mention it anyway, is that there is a movie called Weird, the Weird Al Yankovic story coming out.
Starring Radcliffe?
Starring, Daniel Radcliffe, which is cool. But I watched the trailer today, so it's being made by Roku, the Roku channel, which is super weird. And in the trailer, Radcliffe sounds nothing like Weird Al. He just is doing his American accent. I'm like, that's fine. But the movie looks like it's going to be some kind of everything everywhere, just zaniness.
Okay.
And I was like, that's cool. And it's like based on true story or whatever, but you could tell that it's all completely fabricated. So I'm on board for that.
Yeah, I mean, I think that Weird Al is a fantastic human. And the fact that
I've heard nothing but great stories from people who have met him, in person. Yeah.
But yeah, I think the fact that he's getting like a more surrealist biopic similar to Rocket Man was for Elton John, I think that's pretty tight.
Those are the kind of biopics that I like to see. Speaking of biopics, and this is not like a news thing, I just wanted to make a comment. Do you remember the trailer for the Baz Luhrmann Elvis biopic that's coming out? I thought it looked fucking terrible.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I think that it looks very bad.
Yeah, that whole trailer, I was like, what is this? This looks awful.
It's whatever. I don't even know who the actor is, but whatever makeup effect or special effect they're using to
it doesn't make him look like Elvis.
It just makes him look like a lizard person.
Yeah, pretty much.
Should have just had Jack White do it, in Dewey Cox.
Yeah. But anyway,
the big trailer news.
The big trailer for
if you're
May
hearing
the 4th.
this, you probably already saw it.
Yeah, Obi-Wan Kenobi, the Kenobi trailer.
It looks fucking sick.
Yeah, so I saw an article headline recently. People were making a big deal out of the fact that this has the most family-friendly rating of any of the Star Wars shows that have come out so far. I guess it's like rated G or whatever. So people are like, oh, it's not going to have all the dark blah, blah, blah. And I was like, really? Was there anything dark about Boba Fett? The Mandalorian gets a little fucked up sometimes, but when he's like chopping people in half. But anywho, Yeah, one thing that immediately stood out to me that I loved was that Ewan McGregor is very obviously doing an even more Alec Guinness voice now that he's like transitioning into that.
Like the elder part of his life.
Yeah, so he's got even more like hello there voice going on, and I don't know why I did this. Like Alec Guinness is like a hillbilly or something.
It's like a pint of Guinness, and
Yeah.
idea.
But yeah, I thought this looked awesome. I know that they're obviously keeping Hayden Christensen hidden from us until the premiere of the show, which we only have to wait less than a month for now.
That's crazy. I can't believe it's happening so fast.
Yeah, but even just like his robot arm getting put on, and then it's like you can't run from him, and then I am very excited. And they're bringing in more like Inquisitor characters from the Clone Wars show.
Yeah,
which I'm always excited about. The more they can tie the Clone Wars stuff into like the bigger mythology of Star Wars, the more excited I am. And I didn't need this trailer to sell me on it. I'm fucking stoked for Obi-Wan.
I think I like this one more than the first one, just because I feel like it showed less.
Yeah,
but more of what I wanted to see. Like I
was happy to see Joel Edgerton for a second.
Yeah. Did I see the guy that was in The Mandalorian from Breaking Bad?
Giancarlo Esposito.
Was he in that?
I didn't see him, but I also wasn't looking.
A lot of people dressed the same.
But I guess that wouldn't make sense timeline wise, huh?
No, because this is before
four times.
Before 4 times.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it looked good. What do you think of it?
Like I said, I thought it looks fantastic. I thought it visually looks stunning, and the things that they're accomplishing using their little magic dome, whatever the fuck they call it.
volume.
Yeah, it looks just great. It's really cool what they're able to do, and I'm excited to get my grubby little fingers on it.
Yeah, and the quicker we can wash the taste of Book of Boba Fett out of our mouths, the better.
Yeah, absolutely.
Fair enough. Any other news? You said you had a couple of little...
Yeah, well, something that I mentioned to you guys in text is that, and I don't know if we mentioned this last week. I think this was news that dropped literally right after we recorded, but Avatar 2 is officially confirmed. Avatar 2,
right.
The Way of Water, which is coming out in December. It's kind of incredible and weird to think that this movie is actually going to be coming out. Not only that, but it feels real now because they actually put out screen grabs like of scenes from the movie. Wow. And it's cool to see even just between that movie and this movie how much better it looks like the CG has gotten in terms of making the Na'vi look even more like people and stuff like that. It was great
then.
Yeah.
What's going to be interesting, I think, is that James Cameron waited for technology to get to where it wanted to be so that he could make Avatar the best 3D movie basically ever made.
Yeah.
And I mean arguably, and now 3D has died so hard that this movie's not going to be able to rely on that. It's going to be just story.
But I think things like Dune show that you can still do, like you can do things that are big
spectacle.
Pushing this with the spectacle and everything. So I'm excited for it. I mean, I'm not a huge Avatar fan, but I think that it's hard not to be hyped for something that we've been waiting like 20 years for now.
Crazy, dude.
Almost, yeah. It's
20.
Yeah, it's pretty. I mean, well, no, it's more like 13.
13. Yeah.
Wow. Fuck.
Craziness.
Time flies.
Yeah.
So then our big news, we are going to be making a Porcelain Peak horror anthology movie.
Yeah. So
a short one. So it's going to probably consist of 3 10 to 15 to 20 minute segments. One that we're all going to write and then that we're all going to probably work on and direct together.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know if this idea came to you from watching Evil Dead, but I know when I was watching Evil Dead, which we'll be talking about in a little bit, The Evil Dead, I was immensely inspired. I am every time I watch that movie by how much they were able to pull off with nothing.
Yeah.
And just hearing the commentary, which, again, I'll get more into when we talk about the actual movie, but when you texted me that you wanted to do this, I was like, hell yeah, because that was already on the back of my brain. And I've been really into horror anthologies recently, especially good horror anthologies. And so I was like, well, I mean,
let's make a crappy one.
Yeah, let's make a shitty one and put it out, hopefully, fingers crossed, around Halloween time.
Yes.
So that you guys can see it during the spooky season, and we can tie it into terror tales by having 3 original terror tales of our own to bring to you.
So yeah, I already have a story in mind. I think you're already working on one.
Already writing it, maybe.
Yeah, and
you're still in the works.
Yeah, I'm still in the works. I'll come up with something by the time.
Yours will probably be the best because you'll just be like gestating on it.
Yeah, but we'll keep you guys updated as that unfolds, and hopefully, like Anthony said, we get that to you in October. Trying to hold ourselves accountable by putting it out there.
Yeah. So a couple of things that I wanted to put here at the end of Chop Talk as PPPSAs, Porcelain Peak Public Service Announcements. One is, we don't say this enough during these videos or during the podcast episodes, but make sure if you're not at this point of listening to this episode, if you're not subscribed to our channel, if you haven't liked this video, hit the bell so you know when we post new shit. If you're on YouTube, do all that. I know John has his whole spiel, but I will reiterate, if you're listening, scroll down and give us a review. Rate us 5 stars, because we have that one fucking 1-star review still sitting on there, and it bugs the shit out of me every time I look. So,
But no reason why.
yeah.
Like, I'm okay with criticism.
If you're going to give us a bad review, explain why we're
So we can fix it.
pieces of shit. And,
Yeah.
I'll go cry for a week about it and probably try to find out where you live. You
You gotta
for
quit
reasons.
saying that.
Dude, I have to maps my way from here to my house. Every time I come over, I'm not finding where anybody lives.
What's your other PSA?
Yeah, my other PSA was, I just wanted to remind everybody that starting, holy shit, this month, we are going to be launching our Break the Binge for Stranger Things Season 4. So we talked about this on a previous Chop Talk, but if you want to follow along with us, we are bringing back the water cooler talk, week-to-week discussion. We are only going to be watching one episode of Stranger Things per week, which should lead us very nicely into the second part of that season in July. So I think it's actually the prime way, if we can avoid the internet, to discuss that. And I think that's all of the important stuff that I had to say, because I did my shout-outs earlier.
We'll get a little side-by-side of that, and then also Obi-Wan during that time frame as well, which will be really interesting.
Dude, it's going to be such a good summer.
And we're
very
not
excited.
cramming.
I'm hoping Strange.
Yeah, as
knocks
long
it
as
out of the
Strange,
park,
as long
dude.
as Strange is great or good at least, then I think we can be like, okay, breath, take a breath. We're into the summer. let's hope that it doesn't shit the bed like some other
Oz,
shows we might
yeah.
be talking about later on. But
Anyway, that'll wrap it up for Chop Talk. If you have any other news that we missed, then feel free to share it with us. Other than that, we'll go ahead and get started with trivia.
That Christmas house of wax, the fog, piranha. It's one of those, right? Right?
We're all
oh
about you,
shit,
kid.
John, I forgot. Sing us a song, Synthesizer Man.
Your trivia tune this week is pretty
My
much
trivia tomb. It sounded like you said.
is pretty much just because of what day it is. And trivia.
It's the Star Wars theme song. The March of Star Wars.
Star Wars.
Yep.
The opening credit crawl.
I think it's just the Star Wars
fanfare.
theme.
Star Wars
Oh.
fanfare.
Because, yes, on day of recording, it is the 4th.
Yeah.
Did you guys know a little bit of trivia about Star Wars that I'm sure a lot of people don't know? Star Wars was, I think, the first movie translated into Navajo.
Oh.
Did not know that.
Yeah, and there was a gentleman who I guess fought for decades to get it translated into his language because he wanted to watch Star Wars
Wow.
in his language, and I think that's super cool.
That is really cool.
Yeah.
You should do that more often.
Yeah.
Just translate it. Get more people watching your shit. All right, we're playing the regular, right here, edition of Pass the Popcorn because we ran out of horror. And we're going to do this for a while. And then we have a few other games lined up before we start recycling shit. So how this is going to work, we have an opportunity of 5 points. If I read the year and the genre, then we can get 5 points. After that, it'll be the quote, then the actors, then the characters, and the story with one less point for each clue. I'll read to John. John will read to Anthony, and Anthony will read back to me. John, you got a 2007 comedy. I don't feel like we're going to rip on it.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, none of us are sending it on on just the date and the genre.
Yeah, I'm going to take the quote.
Okay, this quote happens to be a tagline, and it is, imagine if this guy got you pregnant.
Knocked up.
That is correct for 4 points.
Damn, never seen it.
Yeah. It's
Pretty good.
pretty good. Yeah, there's a
Is
lot of
that Apatow?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you have a 2006 thriller.
Oh, okay. In the realm?
Hit me with the quotes.
Do you want to be a cop or do you want to appear to be a cop? It's an honest question.
See, these are going to be tough.
What year did you say? 2006?
Yes.
Thriller?
Mhm.
Do you want to be a cop or do you want to pretend to be a cop? I don't know. Give me the next clue.
The actors are Jack Nicholson and Matt Damon.
Is Thriller throwing you off?
I can't think of a Jack Nicholson, Matt Damon movie.
I would say crime thriller is probably more accurate.
Yeah, crime drama.
The Departed?
It is indeed The Departed, Martin Scorsese's Oscar-winning film.
Yeah.
Okay, John.
We get it. Scorsese is a great director.
Yeah. All right.
He's a good fella. Tone, you got a 1998 action flick.
Great. Let me get that quote, sir.
The United States government just asked us to save the world. Anyone want to say no?
What was it here?
Oh, come on.
1998
Come on,
action.
baby.
1998?
98 action.
Come on, baby.
You know it?
I know it.
The United States government just asked us to save the world. Anyone want to say no?
Long neck as fuck, boy.
I don't know. Go ahead and give me the next one. The yellow.
Michael Bay, director, Bruce Willis.
Oh, is that Armageddon?
It is indeed. Armageddon is the first movie that I had on DVD.
Wow. Mine was
used
Jimmy
to-
Neutron.
Really? My first DVDs were Attack of the Clones, speaking of Star Wars, and the Scooby-Doo movie.
Nice.
Yeah, nice.
Used to play them on my PlayStation 2.
There you go. John, you're in the lead with 4. Anthony and I are sitting at 3, and you have a 2000 comedy.
Damn, a lot of comedy. Yeah, go ahead and give me the quote.
Tagline again, motherfucker. He has the power to hear everything women are thinking.
Enjoying the dogs, yes.
Sounds like he had the power to hear everything you were saying.
She probably took the collar off him.
Yep.
You guys edit this.
Yeah, I'm going to put a timestamp in real quick.
Good?
Just go ahead and start the whole thing from, like, your whole spiel from the top.
All right. John, you got a 2000 comedy.
Yeah, go ahead and give me the first clue.
Okay. It's a tagline. He has the power to hear everything women are thinking. Finally, a man is listening.
Is that What Women Want?
That is correct for 4 points, John.
These are all movies I haven't seen, but you seem to know.
I-
You got your comedies down.
Say love alliteration, hate Mel Gibson. Anthony, you have a 2004 comedy.
Okay, give me a quote.
A liger. It's like a lion and a tiger mixed, bred for its skills in magic.
Get your own tots. It's Napoleon Dynamite.
It's Napoleon Dynamite. I love bred for its skills in magic. I love that shit.
I gotta rewatch that movie. I feel like I would be dying laughing.
I haven't seen it
watching
since I
as
was
an
a
adult.
teenager.
Yeah, I mean, and I didn't get that kind of like humor when I was that age. So
Oh, I tore that DVD apart.
Well, you shouldn't do
not
that.
supposed to do that. Yeah. Tony, you got a 2007 sci-fi film.
All right. I'll take the quote, sir.
Autobots, roll out.
Why do I keep getting Michael Bay ones?
Yeah, I don't know.
It's a Michael Bay card.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and spoil it for you. Michael Bay director.
Transformers.
It is indeed Transformers.
Hey, all right. Well, at the end of that round, John is in the lead by 1 with 8, and Anthony and I are sitting at 7. John, you have a 2006 comedy.
What's with all the comedies, man?
I don't know.
Yeah, go and give me the quote.
He's very easy to spot. He's got white hair, a thin mustache, brimming with confidence, and completely lost.
Is that going to be Pink Panther?
That is correct.
Ba-dum, 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 ba-dum.
Good job, buddy.
Anthony, you have a 1993 drama.
1993. Give me a quote.
I could have gotten more out. I could have gotten more people if I just tried harder. I threw away so much money.
These are so hard.
That's really hard, yeah.
Let me see.
What was the genre again?
Drama.
Schindler's List.
It is indeed Schindler's List.
Wow. How?
I have no clue.
I would have gotten it.
I just started thinking
that scene is burned into my memory.
Yeah,
Because he notices that he has a gold ring on his finger, and then he's like, I could have done more.
I think I was just trying to think of people with a particular set of skills.
Oscar Schindler had some skills, dude.
Yeah. At list making. 2003 animation, Tone.
I'll take the quote, please.
These are so fucking easy. P. Sherman 42 Wallaby Way, Sydney. I remembered it.
Finding Nemo.
It is Finding Nemo.
Nice.
Oh, man. All right. Well, John's at 12. We're at 11. John, you got a 1996 drama.
96 drama. Give me the quote.
And I guess that was your accomplice in The Wood Chipper?
That's going to be Fargo.
Wow. Good job, dude.
Based on a true story.
Yeah, that money's still buried out there.
Anthony, you have a 1998 comedy.
Yeah, give me that quote. I don't trust myself.
In an interesting twist of events here, that rug really tied the room together.
Hey!
I mean, that's just like your opinion, man. That's the Big Lebowski.
It is indeed the Big Lebowski.
He's the dude.
Disguised as another dude.
This is what happens when you fuck a stranger in the ass.
or my favorite television edit of all time. This is what happens when you find a stranger in the Alps.
Yeah. Which is why Phoebe Bridgers named her record Stranger in the Alps. 1994 drama, Tone.
I'll take the quote, please.
The quote is, on the outside, I was an honest man, straight as an arrow. I had to come to prison to be a crook.
Come on, baby.
You know that?
Yeah. It's widely considered to be one of the most perfect films ever put to celluloid.
Oh, my God.
There is a different part of this movie that I've quoted 10 million times on this show. Yep. John knows.
Is it the shank?
It is the shank.
It's not Shawshank Redemption.
Andy Dufresne crawled through a river of shit.
Okay. Well,
Came out clean on the other side.
that's tough.
Oh, that broke me.
All right, John, you're still winning. We got one card left, 2 more questions. You have 16, we have 15. You have an 84 comedy.
Go ahead and give me the quote.
Disturbing the peace? I got thrown out of a window. What's the charge for getting pushed out of a moving car, huh? Jaywalking? Oh, I nailed that.
Yeah, I think that was
You did nail it.
That was a good delivery.
Shit.
That's tough.
I've never seen it, but I assumed it was because of your delivery.
Yeah. This one's going to be the thing that sets me back.
Yeah, I was going to take a wild guess on my last one just for the fuck of it.
Yeah.
But if we got a shot right now.
I'm following this all the way to the end.
You gonna risk
84.
You going to risk it for that biscuit?
There's a
you going to risk it for that biscuit?
John. There's a biscuit on the table, and I
Biscuit
don't
on the
think you're
table.
risking it.
I mean, I don't think that the actors are going to help me here.
You silly?
So you want 0? I mean, unless you got it. How confident are you that you know the answer?
Ooh, risk it for the biscuit should be on the bingo.
I feel like I'm like 20% positive that I could pull it out.
Is that okay?
So I'm gonna take the actors.
Okay, the actors are Eddie Murphy and Ronnie Cox.
Don't you put that evil on me, Ronnie Cox.
So I knew it was Eddie Murphy based on your delivery,
Oh,
But-
that's cool.
but
He did sound like a jackass.
but here's the deal: is I don't
'Cause he
remember what
played
he
a
was in
donkey.
the 80s.
Well, his girl likes to party all the time.
Yeah, exactly.
I love
Party
that song.
all the time.
It cracks me up that it's him.
And also that's the song that plays at JD's funeral in Scrubs that he imagines. Yeah, he imagines like what his funeral would be when they're at Laverne's or whatever.
That's
and it's
so
like,
funny.
and the choir's just, my girl wants to party all the time.
I'm gonna take the characters.
Okay, Alex Foley and detectives Taggart and Rosewood.
You mean Axel Foley?
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Yeah, I thought this was newer. It's Beverly Hills Cop, right?
That is correct.
I thought-
for
I've never seen it, so I have no
2
clue.
points.
I have 2 clues left. Yeah. I thought that movie was a 90s movie, not an 80s movie. So that's my bad. Because I probably could have ripped it earlier.
Oh, okay. Well,
That sucks.
you're not out the game though.
True.
Just evened it out a little bit.
Anthony, you have a 96 action film.
Hit me with that clue, that quote clue.
My team is dead. They knew we were coming, and the disc is gone.
Mission Impossible.
It is indeed Mission Impossible.
Bum, bum,
Oh,
bum,
nice.
bum, 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 bum,
And he
bum.
snakes the lead.
One of the best openings to a movie, I think, because his whole fucking team gets killed right in that opening. It's not a spoiler. That's the clue.
Yeah.
Tone, you got a 1999 drama.
All right. Hit me with that quote.
The quote is, I always thought it'd be better to be a fake somebody than a real nobody.
Well, that sounds so familiar. What's the year?
The year is 1999.
I always thought it'd be better to be a fake somebody than a real nobody. I don't know. Go ahead and give me the actors.
The actors are Jude Law and Matt Damon.
Is it The Talented Mr. Ripley?
It is The Talented Mr. Ripley.
What was it listed as?
Drama?
A 1999 drama.
Oh, all right.
I've never seen it, so I don't know.
3 points for me.
Yep.
Okay, so now Anthony's in the lead with 19, and John and I have 18.
I was not expecting this turn of events, so now I'm going to start sweating.
Okay, you ready, John?
Yep.
You got a 2003 drama.
2003 drama. Go ahead and give me the quote.
The horse is too small, the jockey too big, the trainer too old, and I'm too dumb to know the difference.
That is Seabiscuit.
How do you even know
With
that?
old Tugboat McGuire.
That's crazy.
Oh, Anthony, you have a 2009 thriller.
Hit me with the quote, please.
It's a total corporate death match. The competition will do anything to get their hands on this.
That's so vague. You said a 2000...
9 thriller.
And what's the quote again?
It's a total corporate death match. The competition will do anything to get their hands on this.
Oh, I'm trying so hard not to sneeze.
I'm going to have to take another clue. I'm not 100% sure.
The actors are Clive Owen and Julia Roberts.
It's a tough card, bud.
It is a tough card.
And it's so far out of our wheelhouse.
Yeah, and I don't know either of those actors' filmographies super well. What did you say that the genre was?
Thriller?
It's a thriller?
I've never seen this, so I wouldn't be able to give you any additional information. I think I've only ever heard the name of it once or twice.
I think I've seen it, actually, a long time ago. Probably the year it came out.
You were working at the theater then, probably.
When?
09?
Oh, I don't know. No, I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't know. Give me another clue.
Freelance operatives Ray Koval and Claire Stenwick.
Those are the characters. I'm wondering if even the story's going to give it to you, because it's tough.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've ever heard of this movie. Just give me the next clue.
2 corporate spies team up to con the shampoo companies that employ them.
Yeah, I've never heard of it. I'm just going to take a wash on it. I mean, I'm sure I've heard the title of it, but...
Shampoo companies are going to take a wash on it.
Yeah. Lather, rinse, repeat. What is it?
Duplicity.
No clue.
Yeah, like I said, I've never seen it. I wouldn't have gotten
Yeah.
shit off of that card.
Oh, it's tough, dude.
Well, that comes with the territory of playing regular Pass the Popcorn. But
Right.
Tone, you have a 2006 Musicale.
Ooh. I got to rip it if I want to beat you. And if I don't, then I tie you.
Yep.
I'm just happy to not be a part of a tie. So
2006.
2006 Musicale. Send it.
I don't know. Go ahead and give me the quote.
The quote is, Dina's going to sing the lead because you like the way she looks. Am I ugly to you, Curtis?
Oh, that didn't help me at all, did it?
This is a tough one, too. And I've never seen the movie, so.
Am I ugly to you, Chris? A musical?
Yeah. It says, Dina's going to sing the lead because you like the way she looks. Am I ugly to you, Curtis? I have no idea if that delivery is anything like it's delivered in the movie.
Boop, boop, doo, wah.
Showgirls?
It is not Showgirls.
Oh, all right.
Is it,
It is.
Hairspray?
No, it is Dreamgirls.
Dreamgirls, God damn
Showgirls
it.
is the
I felt
the
so-
stripper movie, I think.
Yeah, it was like a knife through my heart when you said that because I was like, I know you were probably thinking Dreamgirls
That's exactly
instead
what I
of
was
Showgirls.
thinking,
Yeah.
I saw that on the beach in Hawaii.
Really?
Yeah. And apparently didn't remember what the fuck it was called. Well, shit, man. All right.
You were
John.
you were this close.
Yeah. You got 22, Anthony, you got 19, and I got 18.
I believe that's a 2-peak streak for myself.
That is.
It is. Yeah. I don't like it.
Yeah.
But
I don't like it either.
I just got to watch more movies. Like all the movies.
Yeah, like I gotta watch every movie that ever was.
You like movies? Watch all of them.
Yeah. You're working on it. But that'll wrap it up for trivia. If you enjoy trivia, we do quizzes every week over on Patreon. This week I did a movie game, sometimes with 3 movies. That was really fun.
Tell them what the joke was.
What was the joke?
What you called it?
Oh, the groovy game, because we're talking about The Evil Dead.
Groovy.
And that's a classic Ashism. I think later on, I don't think he says it in this one.
Yeah, not in the first one, yeah.
And then John did Smash or Pass.
Yeah, a horror villain edition,
Which was disgusting.
It was a fucking blast.
We found things out about ourselves that I don't know if either of us wanted to know.
I feel like I know myself better now than ever.
Yeah.
So, anyway, and then you did
I
about
did,
Sammy.
name that Sam Raimi movie based on the funny Letterboxd review, and it was a really fun one to put together.
It was good. Yeah,
So-
that was fun. Those letterbox ones are always fun because it could be so random and you never know what you're going to get.
Yeah, so if you want to
like a
accuse
box of
me
chocolates.
of if you want to accuse me of ripping, hey, we're back to talking about horror and sci-fi now, okay? Don't be talking about some other shit movies. I'm not saying Forrest Gump is a shit movie. Yeah. I forget what I was gonna say.
Anyway,
Let's move on.
if you want to check out that trivia, you can do that on Patreon. John will tell you all about it.
Yeah, so you can get those bonus episode trivia golden goodness for $5 a month. For $10 a month, you can get access to our commentary / piece theater commentary tracks where we talk about movies over the top of said movies. We tried to do Little Nicky and that didn't work out. As you previously heard, we had some technical difficulties.
Oh, I
The
think it
stream was
worked out splendidly. I had a great time. It's just nobody will ever remember it.
Yeah, and no one
it's
will ever
lost to
see
the
it.
sands
Yeah.
of time. Yeah.
But
So good.
But we will be doing 2 this month, as previously mentioned, Army of the Darkness and Spider-Man 3. You can also...
Army of the Darkness.
Army of Darkness.
oh, yeah, Army of Darkness. Sorry, I'm
Army
trying
of the
to
Dead.
roll it out quick.
Yep.
So you can check those out on Patreon for $10 a month, or you can also check out our Twitch live streams. If you keep an eye on our Instagram, we'll post when we're going to be doing those, which should be a ton of fun. And then on top of that, for that tier, you also get a print that is designed by Anthony Silva. The one that is about to come out is pretty fucking cool.
Thanks. Yeah, the one that just went up on Patreon is the Morbius Ringu one. If you follow our episodes month to month, you can usually make a guess at what the theme of the design will be. It'll usually be whatever the most raucous, wacky episode we had during the season was. So, yeah, look out for that.
Yeah, and then for $20 a month, you can join our producer tier, where you get early access to our episodes. You get a T-shirt every 6 months, also designed by Anthony Silva, and then you can get the ability to help us come up with ideas for the show, which we're going to have to start sending out here pretty soon to try to get some feelers.
I'm very excited because we always mention it, but we had great contributions in talking about Slasher, the whole first season, talking about Triangle, talking about Naval Ghost Stories,
And then
talking about
play.
Frankenstein the play.
Oh, that.
So
Yeah.
fucking good.
Woo! Sheesh.
So the floodgates will be open soon for you patrons to recommend anything you want us to talk about. And you know what? I wouldn't even be mad if it's something that's not horror and sci-fi related. But just make it interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. And then on top of that, any of the episodes that are released to Patreon are released ad-free, or at least with a little timestamp so you can skip the ads if you're looking at the video version, because it is difficult to make that happen where it doesn't just cannibalize views from the actual episode. But that's always included in the show notes when we release it on Patreon, so you just click the little button and it'll pop you right past.
Yeah.
But those are all the things you can enjoy for Patreon.
And if you're watching this on YouTube, make sure, once again, subscribe to our channel. Make sure you hit the like on this video, and so I can not have to hire a sweatshop in Bangladesh to rack up those likes for us and those views. And also make sure that you hit the bell so that you get notifications for when our videos come up and they don't just randomly autoplay into your life like our newest episode did on my YouTube.
I think additionally, share it with everybody that you know, like your mom, your dad, your dog, like whoever. because it is really for the whole family.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
we stand by that.
And I've done a lot of experiments of forcing my cat to sit in front of the entire hour-long episode, and I won't let him run off or do anything else. And he makes a lot of noise and he's very vocal, and I assume it's because he's enjoying what's happening.
Yeah, he's laughing.
Yeah.
And if you do end up subscribing to the YouTube, you also get our Twitch VODs, which you'll be able to see our Resident Evil playthroughs, which there's quite a bit of that currently on the channel. Plus, you also get to see our goofy little short films and stuff that we do, which are
Fantastic short films.
they are a ton of fun. Village Idiots of the Damned is still probably my favorite.
That's the gold standard. Let's hope the
golden-haired standard.
Let's hope the movies we film this summer are half as good as Village Idiots of the Damned.
But speaking of those ads, we're going to take a short break, let them roll, and then we'll be right back with our main discussion.
Porcelain Pig is brought to you by
And now, a word from our sponsors.
Hey Tone, what's that you're drinking?
Oh, this is a nice tall mug full of mud water.
What in the Sam Hain? Sam Hain is Mudwater.
Mud water is an all-natural coffee alternative that has immune benefits and helps with sustained focus without the jitters and crash of coffee.
What's in it? What's it taste like? What's the deal?
It's made from chai, cacao, reishi, cinnamon, and more, and tastes like a chocolatey chai.
How often do you drink it?
I personally use it every day, and as you creeps know, I'm pretty sensitive to caffeine.
I once saw you look at an energy drink and you stayed up all night.
That's a true story. But I can have mud water in the morning, in the afternoon, and in the early evening without feeling anxious, weird, or having trouble sleeping.
Whether you're running around Crystal Lake, pulling a blanket over your eyes, or stressing on which episode of Porcelain Peak to listen to next, Mudwater has your back when the going gets tough.
As Tone mentioned, mud water contains reishi, which has been used in Chinese medicine for over 2,000 years and nicknamed the mushroom of immortality. As a key ingredient in mud water, reishi will give you added support for your capacity to handle stress while supporting a healthy immune response.
Check out our affiliate link in the show notes to get mud water, creamer, sweetener, even a frother if you're feeling froggy, or go for the starter kit like I did, which includes a killer recipe booklet.
That's mudwtr.com, or use the link in our show notes to help out your favorite podcasters.
Hey, you want to see something really scary?
Welcome back. We are talking about The Evil Dead. But first, we're going to dive into a little bit about the background of Sam Raimi, because we're going to be looking at Sam Raimi movies all month. So I think we did this previously with Alfred Hitchcock. Mm-hmm. And who else? We did another one, right?
Tim Burton.
Tim Burton, yeah. So we diving into some directors, and we like to give a little background. So he was born in October.
Nice.
Which is really cool. I like when we get October babies.
I'm hella jealous.
In 59 in Michigan. Started making films as a kid. So a lot of this comes from what you'll find on the Encyclopedia website and IMDb and some from Wikipedia. But he started making films as a kid. And in his teens was part of a group of amateur directors that was in the Detroit area. And he met Bruce Campbell in 75.
Damn.
And they have been friends ever since, I guess. I'm curious if they ever had any falling outs, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's really fun to hear them talking on commentary tracks, because you can tell they've been friends for a really long time.
Yeah.
Like, they just joke around like we joke around, and
Right.
they're supposed to be talking about the movie, and they're just like doing impressions and like weird voices like we do.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I think that Bruce Campbell just seems like such a nice, humble dude.
Yeah. Which, I don't know, this is a good time as any to mention. He totally forgot, but I reminded him last night that we're going to be seeing him in August.
Yeah, we get to meet him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I told him today that you reminded me last night because I forgot.
A regular game of telephone.
Yeah, pretty much. So some of his shorts that he came out with, starting as early as 72, when he was 13 years old, he made an 8mm movie called Out West. And he's got a bunch of these just short films that he went through.
I know at one point he made
Great
like
Bogus.
an evil hamburger helper film. It's called like The Helping Hand or something like that.
Let me see if that's on here. Attack of the Pillsbury Doughboy, Charlie's Angel, 6 Months to Live. Happy Valley Kid was one that people actually I got to see, I think, at some point. A lot of these are lost because they're old Super 8s.
Yeah.
His first feature was called It's Murder, and that was in 79. He also did one called William Shakespeare, the movie. But he came out with a short also in 79 called Within the Woods, and that was kind of like his sizzle reel for what could be The Evil Dead.
Yeah.
So he went to Michigan State University in 77, and that's when he really started making a lot of these movies, and that's when he met the Coen brothers, who were then completely unknown, Joel and Ethan, right?
Yeah, and it's so cool when you realize that they're so intertwined with each other's careers, because then you can see all the parallels between like how Coen starts shooting things like Raimi does in some of their movies and vice versa. It's really cool to see.
Yeah, and I think Campbell told a story, or Raimi told a story in the Evil Dead commentary of like Ethan or them asking Joel like, hey, we need a copy of some part of the film. Can you go have your brother do it? So he sent his little brother to go get a piece of the film that they needed for the premiere of the movie. Like, that's so weird to think, like, yeah, just send your little kid brother over to get it.
Yeah.
And it's one of the greatest directors, which is nuts. I mean, everyone's got to start somewhere.
Yeah.
We just talked about that, Macbeth. Speaking
Yeah.
of Coens, yeah.
So that movie, Happy Valley Kid, tells the story of a family whose uncle is murdered. The son gets everything because he's in the will, and a detective is trying to find out who murdered the uncle while avoiding ending up dead as well. So, I mean, he's been kind of in the horror genre for a while.
Even when he's not doing horror, he's doing horror.
Right, yeah. So then Evil Dead came out in 81. It was made a couple years before, and this kind of introduced his shaky cam style that we end up seeing a lot of people emulate since then. I mean,
Just a lot of like, let's tape the camera to a person, or let's have somebody run around with a camera on a board, and like...
Yeah, and a lot of times in the movie, and we can talk about it more when we get to it, you could see the boards and everything.
Yeah,
that
the
boards.
It's so crazy watching. Yeah, and we'll obviously talk about it more. But it's crazy watching it and seeing how much shit they got away with. Like where you can just obviously see all of the like continuity mistakes between scenes and stuff. But they talk a ton about on the commentary about how the reason that movie took so long to come out was just that they just could not afford to release it. They kept having to raise money, and then they'd go broke, and then they'd stop filming, and then they'd come back and film more stuff. So that movie is really pieced together from things that were filmed over the course of like 3 years.
Yeah,
and you don't have the benefit of it being like something you can just go back to a computer and just press play on just to get yourself back up to speed. I mean, you'd have to break out reel to reel and fucking do it that way in order to be able to watch this thing back. I mean, because even VCR tech was not really even a thing at that point. Not at least not at a consumer level.
Yeah.
Right. So when it was released, it was pretty lukewarm in the U.S. No one wanted to distribute it. Mm-hmm. They were like, yeah, we're not going to be able to do this. So
because wasn't it unrated, the original Evil Dead?
I don't remember. I'm not
pretty sure. At least Bruce Campbell said, which I don't know how much you trust Bruce Campbell, but he said that at least the first one was unrated, and so a lot of like newspapers wouldn't run ads for it, and theaters wouldn't show it because it was unrated.
Well, I mean, tree R word. That's all you got to say for specific reasons.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So they took it overseas. So it was him, Campbell, and Rob Tappert, who the three of them collaborated together a lot moving forward. And it was well received in Europe. And so then word got back to the U.S. That partnered with successful showings at Cannes, and then a really good review from Stephen King.
Yeah.
Kind of got New Line on board with distributing the movie, so then
that Stephen King review like made that movie become successful.
Yeah,
he was like, this is like one of the scariest things I've ever seen. And it's like when Stephen King says that something's scary, at least back then. Now he just says everything is good and scary, especially if it's based on his stuff. But
and then I mean, you got to think that without The Evil Dead, you don't really have Sam Raimi's career, which I mean would remove a great pantheon of films and some shittier ones, but we'll get to those.
Imagine
later.
how insane watching The Evil Dead must have been on all the cocaine and stuff that Stephen King was on at that time.
Damn.
It was probably a real rodeo.
So a couple of movies that he wrote early on with the Coen brothers was the Hudsucker Proxy, which they directed, and then Crime Wave, which he directed. That one came out in 85.
Hudsucker feels very Raimi when you watch it.
Really?
Lots of the same camera work.
Okay, yeah. So Crime Wave is one of the ones that John was talking about. That's kind of a stinker. It was chopped to bits by the studios.
I saw most of the reviews when I was putting together my quiz were, this has a lot of cool Raimi-isms, but it's incomprehensible. Like, it's impossible to understand what's going on.
And I don't think that has anything to do with him.
Yeah, I'm wondering if maybe there's like a fan edit somewhere where they cut some of the fluff off of it and tried to make it a cohesive, shorter thing.
Yeah, so it ended up being a commercial and critical failure. But this was his first attempt at doing something that was kind of like a live-action comic book, which we're going to talk about later with a couple of his movies, kind of the progress from him getting to making one of the best comic book adaptation movies ever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Steel. Starring Shaquille O'Neal, right?
So he went back to horror in 87 with Evil Dead 2, and I feel like Evil Dead 2 is where we really see kind of the signature camp horror comedy style of Sam Raimi that we get even more extended in things like Army of Darkness, and then especially with Drag Me to Hell.
Yeah.
And there's definitely elements of it in the Spider-Man movies too, but you get this one I feel like is the most Sam Raimi movie.
Yeah, I feel like Evil Dead 2 is not only where you get the moments that really solidify what Sam Raimi's style is going to look like going forward, but you also see it's where the character of Ash like becomes the iconic version of Ash as in Evil Dead 2 toward the end.
Yeah.
And as that movie progresses, you see more and more of like the crazy zooms and quick cuts and stuff, and it's like as the movie is progressing, they're both kind of forming the iconic, parts of both of their careers, really.
Yeah.
In that one movie, it's pretty impressive.
Do you know Ash's full name?
I know it's Ashley, but I don't know what his middle name is.
I saw it today. I just happened to look it up. His middle name is Joanna. His name is Ashley Joanna Williams.
You know for a fact that Raimi just decided to name him that character because it's Bruce Campbell playing him. He was like, you're going to play a character called Ashley Joanna.
So around this time, he started collaborating with his brother, Ivan. What's his other brother's name?
Ted,
yeah. So he's more of an actor. Ivan's more behind the scenes with
I
Sam.
think Ivan is like a doctor and like helps.
Pretty sure,
and like helps with some of the writing on his stuff.
Yeah, so they wrote Easy Wheels together, but Raimi did not direct that one. He just wrote and I think produced it. And then at this point, he tried to get The Shadow made. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that.
Yeah, old like pulp.
Yeah, so they have a movie
radio
with
show.
Billy Zane. That's I used to love it as
Isn't
a kid,
it,
but I'm pretty sure it's rough.
Isn't it Alec Baldwin? Isn't he
In the original? Like in the TV show?
Isn't he in one of the movie
I
versions?
don't know, maybe. I think the show, maybe. I
Yeah.
think there was a show or something. I don't know. But Billy Zane was in the movie, and it's like crystal skulls and lasers and just real bad. And then I
Yeah.
think Sci-Fi even remade it since then. But he couldn't get the rights to that, so he created his own superhero, and that is Darkman.
He was like, what's another name for a shadow? A dark man.
Pretty much. So that's kind of where we will stop with that, because we're going to look more into his career as we progress through the month. But Darkman is the next movie that we're going to be watching of his, because like we said, it's part of this evolution of him doing his horror with the comic book adaptations.
It's him making a comic book movie on a comic book that doesn't exist.
Exactly,
basically.
yeah. And it's got some horror elements to
Yeah.
it. It's pretty scary.
It used to freak me the fuck out when I was a kid. So.
Well, and we'll also get to compare that to his most recent effort in a comic book movie as well, which should be interesting.
Yeah, we're going to see. Yeah, because it's, I mean, even since Spider-Man 3, how long has it been? Because that was early
2007?
2000s. Yeah, so he hasn't made
Yeah.
a comic book movie in a minute. But
15 years-ish.
yeah, so let's go ahead and talk about the Evil Dead here.
The old Evil Dead.
And what do you have to say for yourself?
So
I'm Evil Dead, bitch.
my experience with Evil Dead was that the trailer for the remake came out. I thought it looked absolutely amazing. I showed it to all my friends because it had the scene where she cuts her tongue with the fucking
Still gives me the
box
jeebs.
cutter or whatever.
So good.
There are so many scenes in that movie that I still was like cringing when I was watching it. I've seen it like a dozen times. But because I wanted to know what all the hype was about, I went back and bought Evil Dead 1 and 2
Oh, nice.
on Blu-ray and decided to check them out. And I remember being not blown away the first time I watched Evil Dead, but I feel like every time I watch it, especially knowing Sam Raimi's style a lot better now, beyond the Spider-Man movies, and then even watching Evil Dead and then going back to the Spider-Man movies, it all seems to connect, and it all feels like, okay, this makes sense how he got from, like we're outlining here, point A to B to C. And it's just a fucking incredibly impressive movie. I don't think it's anywhere near perfect, but I mean, for the movie they were able to make with all of the limitations and the lack of budget and the lack of professional experience from most of the people who were a part of that production, it really holds up. I mean, it's still a pretty frightening movie, and the first one does stay pretty much straight up horror throughout the entire movie.
Yeah, and I mean, they put those actors through hell too, which sounds like Feedy did for the remake as well. Like they had to wear glass contacts.
Yeah.
And they couldn't see. They were completely blind. So any
Oh,
time
wow.
that they have the white contacts in, they're glass. They can only wear them for like 15 minutes or some shit.
Yeah.
And they couldn't see. So they had to get everything set up and we're like, okay, go.
So because your
That's
eyes would have to
nuts.
breathe every 15 minutes and take them out, so they would have to get all of the shots together where they would need to see their face and see the eyes. And then Bruce talks about later in the movie when I think it's his girlfriend is like chasing him around with a knife and she's got the white eyes in, and he was like, yeah, that was just a woman chasing me around the room with a knife and she couldn't see what the fuck she was looking at. So that's scary. And they talk so much about how there are things that you're not supposed to do on the set of a movie that they just had to do to get shots done, like using real firearms, like an actual shotgun, blowing windows out with a camera on the other side. The way that they have the force, as they call it, like bust through a window, is they just put a 2x4 in front of in a T shape in front of the camera and smash the 2x4 through the window and zoom the camera through. For all of the through the forest scenes, it's literally just two guys on each side of a board with the camera on it, and they're running up and down
Through the swamp and shit.
It
no
looks so
no
good,
pads,
though.
no stunt people on this first one. So like when you see the actress who gets assaulted by the trees running through all the woods and everything, that's real woods with thorns and dry ass
I think she had
trees and stuff.
she had moccasins on, and they said they didn't do shit.
Yeah.
So what was kind of your experience, I guess, with Raimi and then with the Evil Dead franchise in particular?
So I hadn't seen The Evil Dead until after I'd seen the Spider-Man trilogy, until I was an
Same
adult.
here.
Yeah.
I never knew that he was like a big horror guy. I just
Me
knew
either.
him from
Yeah,
Spider-Man.
aside from Scorsese, I wasn't really big into directors at that point.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe Craven, as far as like horror
I
is
think
concerned.
everybody was kind of into Burton at one point or another, right?
Yeah, for
yeah,
sure.
Burton was like my first. That's a director with a style because
Burton and Tarantino.
yeah,
Yeah. But it was before the remake came out, but I was put on to The Evil Dead and said, hey, you should check this out. Like it's just a fun movie that, like I said, really makes the best of what it's given. And it just has a really like classic kind of like 80s, practical effects style. And so I've seen it, probably 10, 15 times. If I'm going back to watch a movie, I'm probably reaching for 2 most of the time.
Yeah.
Just because it really, it amps up that camp factor and it really gets into what I want from a Raimi movie.
Right.
But there's just so much to love about this film. Like I said, I think that the chemistry amongst all the actors is really great. I think that Bruce Campbell, even without hamming it up and being, Bruce Campbell, is still magnetic. I feel like he was a good looking dude. He still is.
He got so robbed by not having like a big leading man career.
Yeah.
Because he has like just charisma in just droves. Like just he sweats it in these movies. Like, and he even in that first one, he's a likable character, even though he's not really Ash in the first one.
Yeah.
Like Ash is as everybody thinks of Ash, and he even like gives himself on the commentary such a hard time about his acting in that first one. And I'm like, you gotta cut yourself a break, man.
It's the first thing you've done.
Yeah, and like the other actors, the one girl, I think either who played his girlfriend or the other woman in the movie was someone that they went to high school with who was in their high school theater department. So they're just getting friends together and they're doing this. And again, the fact that they were able to pull it off and make it one of the most iconic and a lot of people's favorite or scariest movies, because there's stuff in this still that, I mean, the tree rape is iconic for being absolutely horrifying.
Oh, and that pencil and the Achilles.
Yeah.
Still looks good, dude.
Yeah, it fucks me up. There's so much good. Like, even though it looks goofy, because they're able to lean into the low budget, over the top feel of it, it kind of reminds me of something like Reanimator, which came out between this first one and the second Evil Dead. There was Reanimator in between, and they all kind of feel like they're of a similar vein of like the really campy, over the top gore, but it's still impressive. And then you get somebody in the second one like Greg Nicotero and his team coming in and doing effects, and they just get like 10 times as good and scary
It's
in the
wild,
second one. Yeah.
And I mean, you can see the flaws in the production of this movie throughout the whole thing. I mean, like we've talked about, you can see the boards that they're running on for
You
the
can see
camera and everything.
the matte rectangles around the moon.
Right, yeah, and you can see like where the prosthetics are coming off or like where the makeup effects are, but it just works.
Characters like shoving their arms through a wall, and you can see they're just wearing like ghoul gloves, and then it's just the regular arms underneath. Yeah,
but I was on board for it.
Well, yeah, and it's all stuff that if you're really engrossed in a film, you'll ignore that shit. And for this movie, because of how charming it is, it's able to get past all of those low budget follies where a lot of other low budget films will fall and stumble and remove your immersion and make you not a fan of the film. I mean, if you think about the comparison of budgets between this and something like Axum, they're probably pretty fucking similar.
That's
and
fair.
One of them, you have an incomprehensible movie that makes no sense, that you can't hear, and that there's no acting performances because it's literally just people yelling as loud as they can and still not being audible.
And then you have The Evil Dead.
And then you have The Evil Dead, one of the most classic horror films ever made.
Yeah.
I think that it just stands the test of time because you can see the passion in the people who are behind
the literal blood, sweat, and tears. Like,
Yeah.
you know, even some of the time, like in the second one, you can see the sweat pouring out of Ted Raimi's old lady suit. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, especially setting the groundwork for what I think ends up being, like I stated before, what I think is probably a perfect movie, which is Evil Dead 2. Like, this sets the groundwork for that. And this is, you know, once he got the budget and didn't have as many constraints, and Bruce Campbell had kind of like warmed into the character a little bit more, and they were able to do more stuff, they basically were able to just redo this movie in two. And
kind of, yeah.
for the first like quarter of it, it's a remake basically of this movie, just stripped down, and then it gets completely off the wall and crazy. But
so what I think the intention was is that they wanted to have flashback scenes so you knew where you were at.
Yeah.
But they couldn't get the rights to the first one for some reason.
Yeah.
And so they did the flashback scenes with just him and his girlfriend.
Yeah, Campbell,
and then it's supposed to take off where this left off.
Campbell makes a joke at one point in the second one where Ash is he's hanging out with his girlfriend in that movie, and he's like talking to her, and he's like, yeah, man, I wish I could just go back to last week when I was here with my other girlfriend.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah,
because at some point I think in Ash versus Evil Dead, doesn't his sister come back, but she was only in the first movie?
pretty sure, yeah.
Or something like that, yeah. So there is some continuity stuff, but as far as this one goes, they did, like we talked about camera tricks, so they did a lot of stop motion in this, which is pretty common for the time.
Yeah.
But what I didn't realize is that they would section stuff off, and so that the stop motion stuff was happening, and then live action stuff was happening next to it to try and blend the two. And I was like, that's so fucking cool. And you can see it if you know it's there.
Yeah.
You can like see stuff moving weirdly. But
It
it's
has
cool.
that stop motion jitter.
Yeah, but it's cool that they were able to pair the two so that it blends, because then you get stuff deteriorating in obvious stop motion form.
Yeah.
But then you get cockroaches and stuff just crawling around it. And I was like, that's pretty smart.
It gives it a flavor. It doesn't, I mean,
Cockroach
you,
flavor.
You don't look at it and say, oh, that's obviously stop motion when you're engrossed in the film. Obviously,
Because if you're not on board at that point, you know, you're...
You might be in the wrong place.
Yeah. But if you're just watching the movie for enjoyment, it adds flavor to those moments, and that little jitter that you get from stop motion makes it feel unique and weird and different.
I love stop motion, so anytime
Yeah.
it shows up in claymation too, I'm like, let's fucking send it.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan because I always just think about how much work it takes to do something like that, and so I'm always like, yes, that was... I don't care how it actually looks. I'm just into the fact that somebody put in all the work to do that. But something that I really love about Raimi and his career past this is that there are some things in here that visually might look a little bit weird, and maybe at the time that was because of budget constraints, but he doesn't abandon all of those techniques and things that kind of started out of necessity here. He pushes them even further to where you look at a movie like Drag Me to Hell, which is almost like the redux of Evil Dead. Like, it's kind of him revisiting all of that classic like Raimi horror stuff, and he just takes all of the same kind of like crazy camera stuff, the laughing animals and the like weird eyeballs flying into people's faces and stuff, and he just ramps that all up instead of going like, yeah, I'm gonna get a lot more boring as I continue to become a more and more like accomplished filmmaker. He's like, no, all of my shit, even the Spider-Man movies, are gonna have weird like nightmare montages when he gets bit by the spider, where they're stealing footage from Darkman and other movies that they did to like splice in there because they just needed like, I need a shot of a skull here. Like, yeah.
How funny.
So even in Spider-Man, there's stuff that's referencing back to Evil Dead and back to
it almost makes
Darkman and stuff like that.
It almost makes his films feel like they're in like a weird connected universe.
Yeah.
Kind of similar to how Quentin Tarantino's character is, his career is, where there's those little snippets in each movie that make them all feel like they're, you know,
Of a piece.
Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of things being referential to each other, something that they talked about a little bit on both the commentary for this and the commentary for Evil Dead 2 was that I'm sure you guys noticed there's a Half Torn Hills Have Eyes, and I think we've talked about this before, but the Half Torn Hills Have Eyes poster on the wall in this movie is a reference to the Hills Have Eyes having Half Torn Jaws poster, which Raimi took that as Craven saying, hey, Jaws was just like popcorn fun. This is true horror. So then his response to that was, oh, Hills Have Eyes was just popcorn fun. Evil Dead is true horror. So then what Craven did is had Johnny Depp watching Evil Dead in Nightmare on Elm Street as a response. So then in Evil Dead 2, the Freddy Krueger claw is above the doorway in the shack. And so they had a nice little like back and forth
just kind of like a
thing with each other.
Friendly though.
You just like across the room just being like, sup?
Which I mean, I just love like to be in a world where one of you is Sam Raimi and one of you is Craven, and you're just making jokes back and forth, like
in movies.
Yeah,
that no one's gonna get, but you get.
Yeah, just for people to like nerd over on podcasts like this in the future.
Yeah. Yeah, I did notice that. I noticed the Michigan State sweaters that someone's wearing, and we talked about that in the
car,
biography.
obviously, the
car,
Oldsmobile.
And then at one point, someone opens a closet door, and the camp that he went to, is just like pinned to the closet door.
Yeah, he mentioned
rough, dude.
Yeah, he mentions it in the commentary.
I was cracking up. I was like, you had to throw that in there, so you just pinned it to the wall.
Yeah.
But yeah, the car is one that we're probably going to see. I think it's in everything, right?
It's Uncle Ben's car.
Yeah. Even in The Quick and the Dead.
Yeah, I think he said there's one movie of theirs that it doesn't show up in.
Oh, okay.
Or of his that doesn't show up in.
And The Quick and the Dead, he had it stripped down, and like the chassis is a wagon.
I think he did something similar in Oz. That if it's in Oz, I think it's probably disguised as something else. Yeah, but I'd have to rewatch Oz to know that.
All right, cool.
Sure.
Well, do we want to rate The Evil Dead?
Yeah, why not?
Oh, that's a tough sell.
Out of 5, 5
Randy Tree Branches.
Klaatu Barada Niktas.
Ooh, I really like this movie, and we wouldn't have the second one without it.
Yeah,
it's tough because it's not perfect, but it's so much fun. I think I'm gonna go 4 Klaatu Barada Niktas because it's not perfect, but it tickles that itch.
Yeah, it's tough. I think based on just value alone and the enjoyment that I've gotten from it over the years, I'm going to go with a 4.5 Klaatu Barada Niktas.
Cool. Yeah, as I said before, I don't think it's a perfect movie, but I think the second one is a perfect movie, and we wouldn't have gotten that without this first one. So the first one sits firmly at a 4 to lead into the beautiful 5 that is Evil Dead 2. I'm very interested to see where I land on Army of Darkness, because I think I've only seen it once, and it was back when I was doing my Evil Dead like catch up to get ready, and I remember being like, I don't like this one nearly as much as the other two. And I know a lot of people who are into the campier comedy side of it think that's the perfect movie as opposed to the other two. And I will be interested because I'm not going to watch it before we do our commentary. So so I'll be interested when we do our live stream.
You got to know what you're getting yourself into.
Well, I do this time, which is why I'm hoping that it's like something that I'm just like, hell yeah, how did I ever think this wasn't like an amazing movie? How
we talked about with Scream 3, where if you go in thinking that movie's going to be as scary as 1 and 2 and not a comedy, you're going to be disappointed. But if you go in thinking a comedy, you might get more out of it.
We had another movie we watched recently where I read comedy from it and you didn't, and there was a disconnect based on our enjoyment of it.
I remember what that was.
I forgot what it was too.
But yeah, I think knowing that Army of Darkness isn't going to be really a sequel to Evil Dead, except that it has Ash.
Yeah.
That it's going to be a comedy version of that, then you'll probably be good.
Oh, it's The Innkeepers.
Yeah. Oh, and something that I mentioned earlier, if you do end up watching Evil Dead 2, Dead by Dawn, that movie is a great companion piece to The Wizard of Oz. So watch those two together, and then watch Oz the Great and Powerful, and see if maybe that third movie makes more sense to you.
All right. That's so weird.
Yeah.
It's cool. Bizarro.
Well, so we'll be continuing to look at his career throughout the month, and next week I think we're going to do Darkman for Final Cut, right?
Think so, because we're doing Doctor Strange.
Doctor Strange for our main episode. But speaking of Final Cut, we'll go ahead and get started with that Moon Knight discussion.
What do you know? I asked for Final Cut, and I got it!
For Final Cut this week, we are talking about the finale of Moon Knight.
Finally wrapping up this 6-episode extravaganza.
Yeah, so we had to break the binge on this, which was fine.
Yeah.
I liked it, I think, in week-to-week format. So this one, we get to see the conclusion. Is Oscar Isaac's character, Mark or
Steven
gonna die?
Or
what's gonna happen?
Somebody else.
Or Jimmy Smits. What's his name?
I think it's something Lockley.
Yeah.
Jim Lockley or
Jake
something.
Jake Lockley.
Lockley.
Spoilers moving forward.
Yeah.
Spoilers for Moon Knight. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I liked...
You guys already know what I thought
Some
of
of
this.
it,
'cause
yeah.
You stole my joke.
Well, you stole his joke. I stole your stealing of his joke. Anyway, I don't know. Yeah, I thought it was fine.
I thought it shit the bed.
I thought it
pretty
was
hard.
fine. I mean, I'm sure you liked it.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, okay. Well, tell us why.
So I felt like it wrapped up some of the storylines in a good way, but it also left things open for more shit to happen later. They kind of rushed getting him back, which I felt like was a little rough, but I thought there were emotional, impactful moments, like where he goes back for Steven.
Yeah.
I fucking loved that. Almost got a tear out of me.
Well,
I did, but it was just so like, oh, Steven's hurt. He might be dead. He's trapped forever, and then he just walks back to him.
yeah.
Like there was no
I will say that
trepidation.
the biggest win of this entire series has been Oscar Isaac. I think his performance throughout this entire show has been absolutely phenomenal, and that's why those moments like that with him and Steven in the sand were great. And just the moments in this where they go even further with them just switching between accents from line to line is so fucking cool. He really, really carries the show. I just thought that this finale felt incredibly rushed, incredibly poorly edited. I was like, what the fuck is going on with the editing? It, like one scene to the other, I was having a hard time keeping up with what the hell was supposed to be going on. And it felt like it was just them, going, okay, we need to wrap this up, we need to wrap this up, we need to wrap this up. And it was like, it felt like they weren't as much trying to... I was like, okay, so you want to set up for next season? You got to at least kind of resolve some of the shit that's going on. And it felt like they pretended to resolve it, and then in the end, if you see the post credits, it's basically like, yeah, nothing they did really mattered. Like,
Right.
And I'm excited for a second season. I want to see more of the stuff that I thought might be explored a little bit in this explored further. It's just that I didn't think that this finale really capped off this season's story enough to... Because, I mean, really, a finale should do both things for a season. It should wrap up what you've been doing for this season, and then it should set you up for the next season.
And I feel like it does that. It does that, but it does it
sloppily.
It does it way too condensed. Because
Yeah.
I don't think this is the best episode of the show.
This should have been 8 episodes. I have no idea why it is truncated to 6 and why that's the thing now. And because
or add 20 minutes.
Yeah, because this was a less than 45-minute episode, and I'm like, do an hour-plus episode. There's nothing stopping you. You've
done it already.
Yeah,
with earlier episodes in the series.
When I saw that this was like 45 minutes, I knew we were in trouble. I was like, okay, so I'm not going to be happy with the resolution for a lot of the stuff in this episode. There were things happening where I was like, why are we taking the time to turn Layla's character into a superhero and do all of that stuff when really we should be focusing entirely on Mark and on Steven and their relationship and them becoming Moon Knight again. All the stuff with Moon Knight in this episode I thought was fucking awesome. I loved the camera moving away and then it's Steven and he's Mr. Knight, and then it moves back and he's Moon Knight and he's doing crazy Moon Knight shit.
Well, I love that Mr. Knight actually got to do some cool shit too, like
with the batons, and he's like, he was just taking people out like it's the raid or something. Yeah, that was
that shit was cool. Like the action was very impactful because it was fast paced and it did all the things that you want.
But we also got our classic Marvel. There's
there's
a beam in the sky at the top of the pyramid. There's giant CG things fighting each other. At one point, Ethan Hawke and Moon Knight are flying through the air, like fighting like they're Superman and Zod. And I was just like, okay, I guess we have to get to this stuff. The Marvel ending to the season that you guys can't, for the life of you, seem to break away from when it comes to these big finales. You can't think of anything else besides dude has a magic staff that can suddenly do literally anything he needs it to do.
I mean, it's hard because I enjoyed all of this. Like I said, and I would watch the whole show again, even this episode. But if you compare it to earlier outings, if you look at like Loki, Loki doesn't end that way. Yeah. Loki ends with some really impactful, like thought-provoking shit, which is incredible that it's able to accomplish that when you compare it to other things in the Pantheon. If you look at WandaVision has that big knockout, drag out fight with all the CG and all that shit at the end, which is, common of Marvel. But Loki breaks that mold, and I feel like we could have gone further in that direction. And I
done something more cerebral as opposed to, just a punching match.
I think it was more about trying to get to the ending of them saying, Khonshu saying, "Oh, you are no longer my avatar." And then,
but JK,
you secretly are. You secretly are.
So he's like, release me, and he's like, yeah, and then he wakes up in the mental institution
for like a second.
Yeah, and what's the deal with that? Because Ethan Hawke's there, but bleeding.
So
they're
made no fucking sense to me.
In between world where he's on the verge of, like, they're both on the verge of death. It was weird.
All I got out of it was that Ethan Hawke is bleeding because his character is dying or whatever, or he's injured or something in real life.
So from what I understood, is that in between world shit where they're in the mental institution is them when they're trapped, and it's Jake Lockley who's in the driver's seat. It's because they know nothing about what's going on. Mm-hmm. And so that is his mind putting those personalities away so the ruthless killer can come out.
Okay.
Which isn't explained. That's just all me gleaning information off of it. And that could be inaccurate. I'm just saying that's what I got from the scene.
And as a disclaimer, I mean, we've talked about this already, but none of us are very well versed in Moon Knight, the comic. And I purposely didn't go and look into any of this because I didn't want to have anything spoiled for me. I know that these characters tend to be pretty different from the source material when it comes to the way they're adapted. And I know that Moon Knight is not. They changed some character names and professions around and things for his personalities and all that.
Yeah, so I think Steven, who's the museum one?
Steven.
Yeah, he's supposed to be like a millionaire.
Yeah.
Right?
He's like a Bruce Wayne type, and they purposely made him not a Bruce Wayne type because they didn't want the Batman comparison for the show.
And then Jake is supposed to be like the
cab driver or something.
Yeah, he's like a cab driver, and he's the one that blends in with everybody. He's the seedy underbelly fella.
Yeah. And then Mark is like the mercenary.
Yeah, as far as I know.
Yeah, and then I was also wondering why when Layla became the hippo goddess's avatar, she just became Falcon.
Because Falcon's not a thing anymore.
Yeah, I was just like, I was expecting her to walk out not dressed like a hippo, but I thought it would have been cool if maybe there was something more interesting about her outfit besides like, I got wings now. That's not a huge complaint, just nitpicking. But
we never see a conclusion to her story at all. She just is gone, and then he wakes up in bed, still tied to the bed because of this third personality. But I don't know.
It just felt like there was stuff missing.
Yeah, it felt like you said we needed another episode, a 7th episode, or 20 minutes or something.
See, I don't think the 7th episode is necessary, but I do think 20 minutes to round it out to an hour gives you that extra time, especially considering, as everybody knows, Disney Plus is notorious for putting like 7 minutes of credits at the ends of these motherfuckers because they go through the regular credits that have all the fancy flair and all that shit, and then they go through the additional 5 minutes of here are the credits for this language.
Here are the credits for VFX artists that worked on this.
Here are the credits for this language. Here are the credits for this language. And all that's fine, but come on, man, just give me that extra 20 and just tie some of these up a little bit better.
We don't need your 30-second Marvel Studios logo at the beginning of every single fucking episode. We get it.
Yeah. But as much of a mess as it was, I still feel like I enjoyed myself. I had a good time with the entire series, and I felt like this does an okay job of putting a cap on this season and moving us on to the next one.
It's not a finale that turned me off of continuing the show when it comes back. I am still very much excited to see more Moon Knight. I think the character is really interesting. I love all of the Egyptian god stuff. I think Khonshu is cool. I want to know more about how the gods operate in this world because I feel like that was also very vague. Like sometimes they seem like they're good. Sometimes they seem like they're bad. Sometimes they seem like they're ambivalent. It gets a little bit confusing as to whether Khonshu is a good guy, bad guy, what the fuck his intentions are with anything. But Moon Knight's just cool looking, and I like to see him fight, and that was fun. When he jumps up in the air and his cape looks like a moon, that's tight.
Yeah. But yeah, Oscar Isaacs was phenomenal. And
it made me completely forget about him in the Star Wars movies. Watching him in this,
I still felt like Poe Dameron was probably one of the better parts of those movies.
Well, I just think that he, much like all of the other characters in that series, gets wasted by the time you get to Rise of Skywalker. But I think Oscar Isaac is a great actor. I think the first thing I saw him in was Drive with Ryan Gosling, and he plays a total shithead.
Yeah, and then
movie.
Ex Machina.
That
Still
dance
shithead,
scene. Yeah, he plays a lot of shitheads.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like I said, I thought that I hadn't seen the post-credit scene until you brought it up, so I checked it out. I did think it was cool.
Yeah.
Like it made me interested in what we're gonna see going forward.
Oh, so you were probably really dissatisfied with like, okay, they've hinted at a third personality this
Well,
whole
when
time.
I texted you that it shit the bed, it was before I had seen the post-credits thing. So to me, I was really like, wow, you fucked that up. Like there was nothing there.
So many hints and then no satisfaction.
Yeah, and the post-credits didn't completely change my mind on all of that, but yeah, I think my biggest problem with it was just that it felt poorly edited and put together, and it really, I think, comes down to they probably wanted just a little bit extra time to wrap that up and didn't get it for whatever reason. Had
Which
to come
is
in
weird.
under a certain amount of time or something, or
Yeah,
a
it
certain
felt
amount of
rushed.
episodes. So, but yeah, overall, I think that the season was great, especially compared to some of the other Marvel shows that are a bit more like tied into everything else that's going on. It was nice to get a more standalone solo exploration of this character. I thought the first half of the season was the strongest part before they ever go to Egypt, when it's just exploring Steven like having this personality disorder and like coming to terms with it and everything, and exploring becoming this Moon Knight character. Once they get to Egypt, it becomes a little bit more like spectacle and like craziness.
It's an adventure film at that point.
Yeah, and it becomes like a globe trotting, except it's just trotting all around Egypt in a big circle. But I did like when Conchi went, "I am still the god of this night sky."
Yeah.
That's good.
What do we think if there is a next season? Obviously, they're setting us up for more.
Nothing's been announced yet.
Yeah, I don't know what they're going to do. I think that so far I've seen mixed reviews. I've seen some people who are like, oh, it was amazing, I loved the last episode. And I've seen some people who, obviously, two of them sitting right here with me, who are like, oh, that was shit.
I don't think it was shit.
But like, I didn't like it, you know.
Yeah.
But who do we think, if they do get more? Because now that Amit is out of the picture, who do we think the next Avatar is going to be, and and what do we think we're going to have to deal with?
It'll probably be one of the Navis, right?
Yeah, Avatar 2, Way of Water. We talked about this in Chalk Talk, dude. Get ahead of the game.
You set it up, dude.
Who the new Avatar for who?
So I'm saying what? I'm saying what
the
god?
villain?
What's the new Egyptian god going to be?
I don't know that much about
They
Egyptian
did kind
gods.
of hint at what's his face? Osiris. So I would be interested.
That'd be sick.
Osiris being a little softy. I would be interested to see Osiris show up, and I feel like the fact that they didn't show him in any capacity, or her, I don't know, it probably means that they're going to explore like the Egyptian underworld thing that they explored a little bit in this more in the next season. I can definitely see the next season becoming a lot more like astral plane, like craziness.
Yeah.
Yeah, people are. I think some people are speculating that maybe they won't get another season, and that maybe his story will continue in with some other movies in some way.
I know Feige said that their intention was to introduce Moon Knight and then have him go into the movies. So I don't know if that's still the intention. It'll probably depend on how this show is received. But I think that was the original intention, was to make a Moon Knight movie, and then when that didn't pan out, they were going to do the show and then introduce him into future movies.
Yeah, I mean, I'm interested to see what they end up doing with him. I think that he would be a good addition to those, but you'd also have to explain, Lucy, explain. I need to know.
I just want to see those Egyptian gods. Well, I guess the Asgardians don't really exist anymore, right? But I would have liked to have seen like the Asgardian gods and the Egyptian gods, like
who the
all
fuck
of these
are
different,
you?
like meet up and be like, no, I'm a god. No, I'm a god.
I think where there might be some trouble with him in the regular or the rest of the MCU is that he's very violent and he will kill, and we tend to not see that with a lot of the other heroes.
Yeah, I mean,
outside of the Netflix
Well, then I could
shows,
see him
but-
definitely coming in as like an anti-hero type character who, kind of like the Winter Soldier. Yeah. Where in that it was
rogue
like,
agent.
Yeah.
So that'd be cool. I mean, whatever. Sign me up. Let's get it going.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's make it happen. I was really expecting a cameo from someone. So good on you, Marvel, for not doing that this time
Not
around.
playing with all your toys this time around.
And it was cool. Some of my favorite episodes of the season were the ones that were directed by the same guys that did Synchronic and The Endless and Resolution and a bunch of movies. Spring.
Yeah. And Ethan Hawke just having a resurgence because he's got this,
The Black
Northman,
Phone in
and the
June.
Black Phone's about
Yeah.
to come out. So that's crazy.
I'm not excited about the Black Phone. I've heard early reviews say that it's pretty good, but
People are hyped for it, and
It's
I
him and Scott
Derrickson.
Yeah, so Sinister was tight.
it looks so bad.
Yeah.
Speaking of Scott Derrickson, he did Doctor Strange.
There you go.
Yeah.
It's all coming back.
The multiverses, they're converging.
It's cyclical.
All right, well, that'll wrap it up for this week's episode. Like we mentioned, next week we
Wrap it
are...
up like a Moon Knight. It's like a mummy.
Oh, shit, it is like a mummy. That's
Yeah.
so clever.
See, that's how I felt about this episode, is all the threads didn't come together into one unified Moon Knight outfit.
We're going to continue looking into Sam Raimi, so we are watching Darkman for Final Cut. So if you haven't seen that, check that out. And for our main discussion, by the time you're hearing this, it is already out. We are watching Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness.
Directed by Sam Raimi.
Yeah, starring Benedict Schwartz.
Crampersnatch.
Slumber Patch.
Oh, Black Betty. Crampersnatch.
So tune in next week, and thanks for watching and listening this time. I've been Tone.
I've been John.
And I've been a deadite who wants to shock your soul.
You know where to start, baby.
Yeah.
Say your fucking name.
Internet darling Anthony.
See you next time.
Keep it creepy.
Bye.
For exclusive episodes, early access, merch, and to support the show, head over to patreon.com/Porcelain Peak.
Thanks to all our patrons for the support, and special thanks to producers Chuck, Rob, Ashley, and Michael.
You can find Porcelain Peak on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, and TuneIn.
Wherever you listen, don't forget to rate, review, share, and subscribe so you never miss a thrilling episode.
Special thanks to Roger Jackson for introducing the show, and to Jeff For Real for composing the Porcelain Peak opening and closing song.
All content and episodes are written, produced, designed, and edited by the Porcelain Peak team, consisting of Anthony Perez, John Brasher, and Anthony Silva.
This has been here words for Weirdos Production.